When they brought the coat to Jesus and threw their cloaks over it, he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, while others spread branches they had cut in the fields. Now, ultimately, we always shout on the Hosanna part and understand the significance of save now and understand the power of, again, the ways in which Hosanna means save now. He enters the city. But for me, this is where I shouted right here. Because it says, when they brought the coat to Jesus and threw their cloaks over it, he sat on it. When they brought the coat to Jesus and threw their cloaks over it, he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road while others spread their branches. Why is that so important? Because if you remember what was said in verse 1, it said that it was a coat that had never been ridden before. Now, there are a couple things about the fact that the coat had been never ridden before. One, it's about the holiness of something that, again, had not been used, had not been abused, that would ultimately carry the word. But when you begin to think about it, number 5, as part of this righteous revolution, the Lord takes a risk on us based on our history and our potential for growth. What do I mean when I say that? The donkey has a history of having a particular temperament. The donkey has a history of being an animal of peace. The donkey has a history of having a humble disposition. And the fact that Jesus decided that I'm going to use something that ain't never been ridden before. I'm going to use something that ain't never been to this space before. I'm going to use something that doesn't have the experience that's about to manifest itself. However, because of its history, can I bless somebody right there? You think your history disqualifies you from being used by God. You think your history puts you at a disadvantage. You think your history marginalizes you. Can I bless you this morning? The fact that you went through that hell, you're a candidate. The fact that you done lost some things and ain't lost your mind, you're a candidate. The fact that you done wanted to curse God and ultimately did not makes you a candidate. Is anybody glad this morning that in spite of your history or because of your history, you still are usable by God. You still are powerful as a result of it. You make the perfect candidate for transformation. So he uses something that ain't never been used. And some of us won't take risk because we ain't never been there before. I ain't never done that before, but the God that you serve has already prepared it for you. The God that you serve has already prepared you for it. The God that you serve is making crooked paths straight right now. So he uses a coat that ain't never been ridden before and ultimately moves this revolution into the next level. But it's again speaking to that some of us are only where we are. Some of us are only who we are. Because somebody saw us when we didn't have experience. Somebody saw us when we couldn't put two subjects and verb together in a sentence. Somebody saw us when we got off the bus at TSU and just had a little bit of stuff. Somebody saw us when everybody else possibly didn't believe that we were going to amount to anything. But thanks be unto God that God looks beyond our faults and sees our needs. Thanks be unto God that God looks past the exterior and looks at the heart. Thanks be unto God that God still uses those who believe that they are unusable. So I don't know if I got any coats in the house. I don't know if I got any donkeys in the house. And usually I wouldn't make a metaphor like that. However, when you begin to think about the donkey, when you begin to think about the peace, when you begin to think about the humility, when you begin to think about the fact that they're going to be saying, who is that carrying the word? Is that the person that we used to know that used to do that? Who is that bringing the word now? Oh, you used to do this, now you do that. Who is that liberating people with the gospel? Oh, I remember when you used to slang it real good. Yeah, I want you to call my past back. Yeah, I want you to talk about what I used to do. Yeah, I want you to have pictures and Facebook posts, because when God changed me, when God delivers me, when God set me free, you're going to be able to say, I know it wasn't nobody but the Lord that changed you. I know it wasn't nobody but the Lord that put a song in your heart. I know it was nobody but the Lord that now got you praising. Same hands that used to steal, now lifted in worship. Same feet that used to run into trouble, now cut a step. The same heart that used to be full of malice is now full of love. The same mouth that used to spit rude and insensitive comments now spits love and hope and compassion. Is anybody glad today that the love revolution, you are a recipient of that love? You are the righteousness of God and the revolution. And what Lent is really all about is how you're going to approximate yourself to that love. Because I think Lent is about not only what you're willing to give up, But Lent is also about what you're willing to do more of. Because the reality of it is that we're not doing right to become righteous. We do right because we are righteous. And what Lent is supposed to do is to remind us of the fact that a loving God would be so kind and merciful that I'm going to keep using people from outside the church. I'm going to keep using folks that other folks say God wouldn't use them. I'm going to keep using gangsters and prostitutes. I'm going to keep using folk that'll cut you real quick. I'm going to keep using folk that got a lot to say that ain't in the Bible. I want them kind of folk, because if you really look at the Bible, Moses was a murderer. Rahab was a prostitute. Paul was a killer. David was an adulterer. So every now and again, you better not judge nobody. You can't say nothing about nobody, because if it wasn't for the grace of God, where would you be? If it wasn't for God's love, where would you be? If it wasn't for God's mercy, where would you be?